Right, welcome back to the blog. I need you to tell me if this is genius, or has Britain finally gone completely off the rails? Because Lidl is opening a pub. Now, not a beer aisle, not a wine bar, not one of those sad little corner cafes with 2 pensioners and a broken coffee machine. A proper pub with seats, pints, and alcohol. People sitting around drinking inside a Lidl development. And honestly, the weirdest part is that my immediate reaction wasn't, "That's ridiculous." It was, "Yeah, I'd probably go." Because of course I would. You would. Half the country would. And the second someone says you can get a $3.99 steak, a pressure washer, a wetsuit, and a pint of lager on the same trip, we're interested.
It's Monday, don't groan, don't fear. The Beard and Beer blog bloke is here. Talking nonsense, beard on show. Grab a brew and watch him go.
The story itself is wonderfully British, or technically Northern Irish. Lidl wanted to sell alcohol from its Dundonald store. Simple enough, right? Except Northern Ireland has some of the strangest alcohol licensing laws anywhere in the UK. So Lidl couldn't get the license it wanted. Most companies would have given up. Lidl instead appears to have stared directly at the legal system and said, "Fine, we'll just build a pub," which is exactly what happened. After years of legal arguments, planning issues, and court challenges, they got approval. So now they're actually building a real pub right next door to the store. Not metaphorically, literally. And that, my friends, is one of the most British corporate responses imaginable. Now let's discuss the real question here. What does a Lidl pub actually look like? Because I'm imagining absolute chaos. You walk in for a quiet pint. 3 drinks later, you've suddenly got a chainsaw, ski goggles, an air fryer, a trumpet, and an inflatable kayak. And you don't remember making any of those purchases. The middle aisle is already dangerously sober. Adding alcohol seems a little bit irresponsible, which is brilliant, but irresponsible. Can you imagine the conversations though? Fancy another pint? Yeah, go on. Want a welding mask as well? Also yes. But here's where it gets interesting, because everybody's laughing at this story, but there's a serious point underneath it. Traditional pubs are struggling. Some are thriving, loads aren't. Costs are up, energy bills are up, beer prices are up, business rates, staffing costs, insurance, everything costs more. Meanwhile, supermarkets are selling alcohol incredibly cheaply. That's been hurting pubs for years. So now we're entering a bizarre phase where the supermarket isn't just competing with the pub, it's becoming the pub. That feels somehow symbiotic to me, like the final boss battle of British drinking culture. And let's be honest, people are going to try this. Maybe not every week, but once, definitely. The internet reaction alone proves this. The second this story appeared, people immediately started making jokes. Every Lidl helps. Getting a little pissed. Pint in the middle of Lidl. People were workshopping pub names within minutes. And that's because the idea is inherently funny, but it's also weirdly appealing. Lidl alcohol already has a cult following. Some of their beers are award winners. Some of their wines beat expensive brands in blind tastings. People love discovering bargain finds. A pub built around that idea? There's definitely a market for it. Reddit users were already talking about wanting to try Lidl beers on tap and joking about combining shopping trips with pub visits. I think the real reason this story fascinates people is because it captures modern Britain perfectly. We've completely lost shame. In a good way, I mean. Years ago, people hid bargain shopping. But now, people boast about it. Finding a £4 bottle of wine that tastes like a £15 bottle has become a personality trait. People compare air fryer bargains like football fans discussing transfers. Lidl and Aldi didn't just sell cheap products, they made bargain hunting cool. And a pub is basically the final evolution of that. Lidl says this is effectively a one-off situation caused by local licensing rules. And honestly, they're probably right. But if this thing becomes wildly successful, all bets are off. Because companies will say, "We have no plans," right before announcing 37 more locations. Imagine the future. Aldi pubs, Tesco taverns, Morrison's microbreweries, Asda speakeasies. We're literally 2 pints away from buying loyalty card cocktails. So is Lidl opening a pub ridiculous? Absolutely. Is it a strange loophole created by unusual licensing laws? Also absolutely. Is it one of the most British news stories I have ever heard? Without question. Because somehow it contains legal bureaucracy, alcohol, bargain hunting, retail competition, property development, and pub culture, all in one story. And honestly, I really hope it succeeds. Not because I think every supermarket should have a pub, but because the image of somebody finishing a pint and then immediately buying an angle grinder is objectively funny. And if we're going to live in strange times, we may as well have a beer while we're doing it.